Hey, welcome back. I want to ask you something before we dive in. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem to build wealth effortlessly often have a very different relationship with money than everyone else? Like, there's a different philosophy running under the hood. Well, today I want to show you that this philosophy isn't new. It's not from a Wall Street bestseller or a TED Talk. It's been sitting in Scripture for over 3,000 years. I'm going to walk you through 7 wealth principles from the Bible. Principles that I believe the financially successful have been operating by, whether they know it or not. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a completely different framework for how you think about building wealth. Let's get into it. Before we jump to the principles, I want to ground us in one verse. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." That one verse is almost a complete financial philosophy on its own. Diligence, planning, patience versus haste and shortcuts. The Bible has been saying what Warren Buffett preaches about slow, steady wealth accumulation for literally thousands of years. Now let's unpack the 7 principles. Principle number 1, the law of diligent hands. Proverbs 10:4 says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." Now, before anyone gets offended, this is not saying that poor people are lazy or that rich people always worked hard. That's a misreading. What this is saying is that the consistent, disciplined application of your gifts and skills over time is a prerequisite for wealth. Think about it practically. The difference between someone who builds wealth and someone who doesn't usually isn't intelligence or even opportunity. It's the discipline to show up when it's hard, to keep going when there's no immediate reward, to invest in your craft when no one's watching. Diligence is the foundation. Without it, every other principle in this list falls apart. Modern application. Track your daily habits for 1 week. Are your actions each day moving you toward financial growth? Or are you spinning in busyness without real productive output? There's a big difference between being busy and being diligent. Principle number 2, the seed and harvest law. 2 Corinthians 9:6 says, "Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously." Now, this is often preached in the context of tithing, and that's valid. But I want you to see the broader economic principle here. Every investment is a seed. Every skill you develop is a seed. Every business you build, every relationship you nurture, every dollar you put into an index fund, these are all seeds. And the harvest is always proportional to the sowing. The problem is most people want the harvest before they've planted. They want the salary before they've built the skill. They want the return before they've made the investment. Biblical wealth thinking says, "I will sow generously and consistently, trusting that the law of harvest will produce results in due season." Galatians 6:9 adds, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Do not give up on your seeds. The harvest is coming. Principle number 3, the counsel principle. Proverbs 15:22 says, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisers they succeed." And Proverbs 11:14 echoes it. "Where there is no guidance, a people fall, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety." Here's the thing. One of the biggest financial mistakes I see people make is trying to figure everything out alone, especially men. We have this pride thing where asking for help feels like weakness. But Scripture is screaming at us. Get counsel, get advisors, surround yourself with people who know more than you. This means finding a financial mentor, getting an accountability partner for your money, reading books by people who've built what you want to build, going to seminars, hiring professionals. The cost of good counsel is almost always less than the cost of bad decisions made in isolation. Practical step. Write down 3 financial questions you've been wrestling with alone. Now identify one person, one book, or one resource that could give you clarity on each. That's it. Start there. Principle number 4, the diversification principle. This one surprises people. Ecclesiastes 11:2 says, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land." That is a 3,000-year-old case for diversification. King Solomon, the richest man in history, was writing about spreading risk across multiple investments because the future is uncertain. How many people do we know who had everything tied up in one stock, one business, one income stream, and then one disaster, one pandemic, one market crash, one industry disruption wiped them out? Biblical wisdom says, don't do that. Spread your seeds. Multiple income streams are not just a modern financial strategy. They're a biblical mandate. For practical application, start identifying where your income and assets are concentrated. Is all your wealth in your job, in one investment? Start thinking about how to add at least one more income stream this year. Principle number 5, the debt danger principle. Proverbs 22:7 is one of the most sobering financial verses in Scripture. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Read that again. The borrower is a slave, not an inconvenience, not at a disadvantage, a slave. Now, I'm not saying all debt is sinful or wrong. There's strategic debt, using leverage to acquire assets that generate income. But consumer debt, credit card debt, lifestyle debt, that is bondage. Every dollar you owe someone else is a dollar working against your freedom. The biblical wealth builder is aggressively pursuing financial freedom. Not just wealth accumulation, but the elimination of obligations that make you dependent on others. Freedom is the goal, and debt is one of the biggest obstacles to it. Action step. List every debt you have today. Total it. Then create what Dave Ramsey, who admittedly gets a lot of this from Scripture, calls the debt snowball. The smallest balance first. Attack it. Get free. Principle number 6, the generosity accelerator. I know this sounds counterintuitive. Give money away to build wealth? But Proverbs 11:24-25 says, "One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." Luke 6:38. And yes, this is about more than money, but the principle applies while it says, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap." Here's what I've seen over and over in the lives of wealthy believers. Generosity opens doors. It builds reputation. It creates networks of goodwill. It cultivates a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. The stingy person holds everything tight because they believe there isn't enough. The generous person gives freely because they trust the source of their supply. That mindset shift alone changes everything. This doesn't mean you tithe your way into wealth. It means you position yourself spiritually and practically as someone who adds value and gives generously. And that character tends to attract more. Principle number 7, the inheritance mindset. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children." 2 generations. This is not about being wealthy. This is about thinking in decades and generations, not just this month's paycheck. The wealthy think long-term. They make decisions based on the legacy they want to leave, not just the comfort they want today. This is why they invest instead of spending. This is why they build businesses instead of just earning salaries. This is why they sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term freedom. When you start thinking in terms of inheritance, not just money but values, wisdom, systems, and assets, your financial decisions completely change. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Does this fit my legacy plan?" So there you have it, 7 wealth principles from the Bible that have been working for millennia. Let me recap them quickly. Number 1, diligent hands. Number 2, the seed and harvest law. Number 3, the counsel principle. Number 4, diversification. Number 5, the debt danger. Number 6, the generosity accelerator. And number 7, the inheritance mindset. Now here's my challenge for you. Pick the one principle from this list that you know you've been neglecting. Just one. And decide today what one action you're going to take this week to apply it. If this video added value to you, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this message. Subscribe if you haven't already, and comment below. Which principle hit you the hardest? I read every single comment. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you and your financial journey.